Heading right down on me as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for another week of streaming. First and foremost, this is the one and only Paul Gomez. He liked it so much the first time, or I may or may not have had some blackmail. I mean, wait, sorry, shit. I'm sorry, Paul. We didn't. I said we weren't
Oh,
going to talk about this on the
oh.
air. Right? How you
How you
doing,
doing?
man?
Good. I'm good. I'm, back out here with Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries issue 2, talking about it, promoting it, and hanging out with some good friends like you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks. Well, I had such a good time. Like seriously, last time you're one of the nicest guys I think I've interviewed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're one of the nicest, right? Now, like I said, and I was looking forward to this one in particular because, like, we both like remember last time we were talking about this, right? We were mentioning like Scooby Doo, and it's
Yeah.
like this is like your Scooby Doo with your kid. So
Yeah.
this one is like the near and dear one to your heart, then I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. I mean, we put it together, me and my kids. We brainstormed it. It was really that morale boost kind of thing that I wanted to do with them, kind of keep them in reading and stuff. They had just got introduced into comics a couple of months prior to that, and it's been a great vehicle for them to kind of stay into the whole
So
industry
what
kind
are
of
they
thing.
reading? We're gonna start here. What are they reading right now?
Well, I got twins that are 13, and one of them's reading Miles Morales, mostly Spider-Man kind of stuff.
Okay.
The other one reads odds and end kind of stuff. He likes what ifs, but he's also reading a lot of more independent things. He's reading one right now. It's I can't remember the name of it, but it's about a character who doesn't have superpowers, but like everybody else does.
Okay, that can be really fun actually.
Yeah. So I mean, he's kind of into a little bit of the off-brand kind of comics instead of the big two, where the other one's reading a lot of the Spider-Man
Oh,
stuff.
okay. So, would you like a recommendation for your kid that's an off-brand? It's a manga,
Sure,
but I think
sure.
you'll dig this. Spy X Family.
Spy X Family. I'll
So this is
definitely look that up for him.
so it's a secret agent. So a secret agent. Okay,
Uh-huh.
his name is Agent Twilight. Right. So he has to infiltrate this place. He has to actually look like he's married, has a wife and kid. All right. Here's the best part: the wife is secretly an assassin. She's looking
Oh
for a
wow.
husband. Oh, it gets better. The only one that knows what's really going on, kind of, sort of, is their 5-year-old kid who's a telepath.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So she sees through both of them, kind of,
Yeah.
sort of. So it is. It no, like it is. It will make you laugh so hard. Right.
Yeah.
It's got that combination of that right zany. It's got just enough of a human touch because you're in Twilight throughout the series.
Right.
It's slowly becoming a little bit more real.
Yeah, and
Slowly, right?
and that's
Right.
that's what he likes. He likes a little bit of that off-brand stuff that makes him laugh, kind of thing.
Oh, it
Yeah.
make you laugh. It would make
Yeah.
you laugh. You'd be reading like this. What kind of horseshit is this? This is awesome. But yeah, it's my favorite manga right now. Like my favorite manga. It's not quite traditional comics, but the beautiful thing about mangas is they come out every so often, so you can
Right.
get them. You can get them hooked on the good stuff still. The
Yeah.
off-brand stuff is prop. Again, I think maybe we all go through this phase. So this is what will end up happening. Your kid that's right now in the superhero books
Yeah.
will end up in the offbeat stuff, and the guy in
Yeah.
the offbeat stuff will end up in superheroes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is they get to see, what each other likes too. So that's kind of a cool thing. They get to share, what they're reading and kind of why they like it kind of stuff. It's really interesting to see them whenever they're talking about it.
So they both Marvel guys. So one's a Marvel guy,
Yeah, one's
and
a Marvel guy, and the other guy, like I said, he's more of an off brand stuff. He's read some Source Point Press stuff and Boom kind of books and stuff
so
and
he's got
Independence.
he's got reading staying close to me. I got like 5 books right now.
Yeah.
Right, Sega, Starhenge. This one I think you'll pop for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. That one's like yes. My only regular DC book right now is Harley Quinn, and that's because I was a fan of Riley Rossmo and Stephanie Phillips individually.
Right.
I've known Riley since before he broke in, and I've known and Steph's one of my favorite like writers in comics. So they were coming to play. Yeah, it's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Riley's going to be doing Robin in September, so I'm going to be reading that one because he's doing it. But I'm going to keep Harley. So I got 2 mainstream, and I have Berserker for Boom.
Right. I like Robin. I've
Yeah.
been trying to keep up with Robin, and Yeah, I've been getting more and more into the independent stuff, so I've been dropping a lot of my main titles. But I mean,
I,
there's so many great books.
I look at the DC and Marvel catalog, so they do depress me a little bit. Like just a little bit. Like DC, it's like 30 Batman and like 10
Yeah,
everything else, and you're
yeah,
like, I can't. I just can't. Like,
yeah.
leave me alone.
No, I
Right?
understand. I mean, I get it more into like image stuff and a little bit of like Silver Coin and
Silver.
like haha and
Yeah.
like Ice Cream Man. That's kind of the stuff that I like to read. But of course, I'm always picking up some of the stuff that I used to like, X-Men and Robin,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff every once in a while.
So who's your favorite Robin?
Man, that's a real hard one for me because I'm a big
Yes.
Robin fan. I would probably have to go with Dick Grayson because he was the original and he's Nightwing, and it's just.
I,
But Damien, he's got that attitude. It is just great.
so one of my favorite runs, like one I actually did. So I had dabbled with Batman a little bit, like Batman and Robin. My favorite is the Grant Morrison Batman Robin, where Dick's Batman and
Right.
Damien's Robin.
Yeah.
That is still one of my favorite books
Yeah.
because I actually think if there's anyone that's going to take Bruce's spot permanently, it will be Dick Grayson because
Right.
he's the right guy for it. And also just because I think he brings a different take to Batman, and that's why I really liked it. Damien is like Bruce Wayne with the filter off. He's like
Right.
a younger, right? There's no filter with him. That's why he's so refreshing me because I think there's a part like Bruce, like, nope, you're my son. I think the exact same thing. I don't say it, but I do think it. Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right, right. I think the exact same thing, and so, but for me, I've always been Tim Drake because
Yeah.
I think, okay, the one most like Bruce Wayne is Tim Drake,
Yeah. Yeah.
most like him.
That whole detective thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I understand that. I mean, I was a big fan of Jason Todd whenever he first came in because of that attitude, though. It really was that pulling Batman back because he was trying to hold, Jason Todd back. So, but I really think it's Dick Grayson that's really my favorite Robin.
that's fair. So notice that I said glowing things about all of them, but Jason Todd. Eh, he was
Yeah.
for me. He was just like he was there. Like he's got his fans. I'm not going to deny it, but
Right.
it's just not for me. Just
Right.
I'm all for. I asked because okay, I'm a Green Lantern. Like I would read Green Lantern if Green Lantern was out right now.
Yeah.
Right. There is no Green Lantern book in DC Comics right now, which boggles the mind actually a little bit.
Some of the titles that they let go or don't focus on the most is funny because there's so many fans out there that could would support some of these as opposed to some of the books that they do have out, which I'm shocked about too.
Well, that's just it. Like that's why when I read like Marvel has its own crime with that, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the X Men. Like I
Oh yeah.
like the X Men, not that much. Like
I
not
see. I fell in love with the X-Men first.
yeah.
So whenever it comes to X-Men, it's like I'm a little blinded and jaded. I still love them no matter what. But on the other hand, it's like these ain't exactly my X-Men. You know, you know what I'm saying? It's like I still love them, but they've been better. They've been way better.
That is awesome. I don't like you guys. So for me, these are the books when the new X Men relaunch was going on before the pandemic went and knocked everything off
Right.
kilter. Excalibur and Marauders.
Yeah.
Notice I'm not touching any of the main X books. Right, I'm touching the one that seemed Excalibur is just fun, and
Right.
then you're like, wait, Kitty Pryde's a pirate? I'm in. I'm just in. All right, I'm in. Sounds fun. I'll go
Yeah.
for the ride. Right. I'm not going for the. I love a good like X Men when it's just at a core or a certain core group. I really love the book. It's
Yeah.
very deals with some fundamental stuff about humanity, equality.
Right.
Right. There's some great stuff with that. So my favorite X-Men book in the unpopular era of the X-Men, which is not this one, but the previous era,
Right.
was X-Men Red when Jean Grey came back.
Right.
I really love that they put Jean Grey in like the Professor X role because they fit her so well. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it felt like that she was being groomed for that kind of role at first. So, I mean, even though Cyclops was like the leader, and then Storm was the leader, at some time, that it really was where he was kind of trying to train Jean Grey most of the time. So I can
Yeah.
understand whenever they were doing that. Yeah,
Yeah. No, that was like my favorite. Like Tom Taylor did that book.
yeah.
I love that book. I also loved Wolverine when X-23 was Wolverine. I was a big fan of that little run too. Like that again, it wasn't the most popular era, but there were some good books here and there in that era.
See, now I would probably lose a lot of fans saying this, but I'm going to. I'm not exactly the biggest Wolverine fan.
No, it's fair.
I mean, I know a lot of people loved him. A lot of my best friends loved Wolverine, but I was like, to me, he was too smug. He just really was too
No, it's
smug.
fair. It's fair.
And I was, for that reason, I was just never that big of a fan of his.
No, so for me, like Wolverine was kind of a whore. That's like
Yeah.
he was the original. I'm in every book. I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, I can't. Like, and then they did it with Deadpool, which I thought was terrible.
Yeah.
And now DC's doing it with Batman, and like, but they always
Yeah.
like they take this hit, and you almost like you run it to the ground, and
Yeah.
it's like, just let me have my hit.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this. It's like, is there a good Marvel book right now that I can just get by itself, like just in its own little corner in the universe? I don't care.
I don't think there is.
That's it. That's all I want. Like
Right?
that's all I want. I don't need. Okay, I don't mind if, like for example, okay, Ninja Turtles is doing the Armageddon game, which is
Right.
going to be the companion book and I'm fine with it. It's one more book a month, so my grand total is 6. And the reason why I'm only collecting 6 books right now is it's the Kickstarter effect. I've been getting more
Right.
Kickstarter books and
Yeah.
less mainstream books, right? So
Yeah.
now I still got me some love for the mainstream because that's why I like I said, if Green Lantern comes out, I'm there. Teenage
Right.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm in. I'm enjoying Saga, right? I'm enjoying Harley right now. But again, if you notice in this, I'm not most of so two indies, two DCs, right? I would love a good Marvel book that's by itself. That's the right. Immortal Hulk was the last really good Marvel book by itself. So and was like, give me something like that every month, Marvel. I'll be very happy,
Right.
right? I
Right.
don't need a complicated. I don't want it, right? Just give me my little corner of the universe. That's all I want.
Yeah, and they don't. They just don't. It usually everything's just mashed up into one big cluster, if you will, or pitch of this and that, and it just pulls you away from what it really used to be. Because what it used to be were these characters that were so great that stood alone, but now, I mean, it's just crazy and chaotic.
Yeah, like I said, a good Thor book, a good Hulk book, a good. I hear Ghost Rider might be the only thing out there. I'll have to check it out. It's kind of like, and I'm not really a Ghost Rider fan though. That's kind of the thing. I'm just not a Ghost Rider fan. But he's by himself, so
Yeah,
maybe,
you never know.
right,
Yeah,
right, maybe. But I mean that's where I'm at, right? And that's all I want. Like I think we've come to a point where it's just like, look, if I'm paying $5 for a comic at a store, I want a good story. And if that five
yeah,
bucks, that's
yeah.
by itself. I don't need a lot of complications. I don't mind every once in a while an event. Like I said, one extra book for a little while, I'm okay with.
Right, right. But
It's
they have these big storylines where you have to collect this one or that one. King in Black was like 32, and then man, I just can't remember all these crossovers. They're doing so many. It used to be like once a year or once every so often, but now it's like every few months.
yeah.
Why they got to do that, I don't know. But I mean, it is what it is.
Well, we can tell. Well,
Yeah,
we can say the bad news right here. Um, at the comic book industry because of the pandemic and everything else,
yeah,
right? I mean, it was going through this. Comics have decentralized, much like publishing has decentralized. Again, like okay, this year, Snowpaw, right? Spectrus and Sabanin, Mara, right? I'm probably going to get one more. Who knows? Maybe, like I said, hopefully maybe I get a client or two. Then maybe at that point I'd be like, Paul, your campaign's still going on, right? But that's
right.
the idea. Like, there's all these good books that are by themselves,
Yeah.
So why would I? So I can do that and get a great book from a great creative team from people I know and can relate to, or I can still go to these big companies. And again, these properties are big. I
Yeah.
mean, there's always going to be a Batman book. There's always going to be a Superman book. There's always going to be an X-Men. There's always going to be a Spider-Man. There's always going to be something along those lines, and there should be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, but at this point, they're competing with you guys for their bucks.
And the
And
independence is just a great industry right now. You have so many great artists and creators out there with these independent books, and like I do, I want my stories to not only stand alone, but to be worth every penny that you spend on it. Whenever you get some of these books, you get a filler, and that's the
yeah,
thing I hate the most. It's like you get this filler that's doesn't even have to do with the story, but they're throwing it in there just so you could buy that book.
well, again, they have okay. There's a slightly different pressure there, and I'll give it to them a little bit. Look, when you make a promise that you're going to deliver a book every month, you're going to
Right.
deliver a book every month. That's just the way it goes, right? But
Right.
at the same time, right, you have to have a certain level of quality. Sometimes you don't have that luxury, so sometimes you get the filler. So I mean,
I
I get
I
that.
I
I know
don't
you
know
hate it.
about that. No, the only thing I'm saying is I don't know about that. See, if I had the funds, because I'm not exactly a rich person myself. So if I had the funds, I believe that I could come out with a book every month and have the same quality that all my books do at the moment.
Mhm.
With Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries, it's going to be a 12-issue series at the moment. And the only reason I wanted to limit myself to 12 because I figured it would take me a year or two to get the funds for it. But I did go back and whenever I was having problems with the first Booshie Boo, I decided to do PTSD, and I felt the quality on that was amazing.
Yeah.
So then I went to Cryptic Haze right after I did Booshie Boo, and that quality stayed the same as PTSD and Booshie Boo. If I had the funds, I would have me some more teams out there and be cranking them out more.
Maybe,
But I
maybe.
mean, you got Marvel and DC who do have the funds, and like I said, they're putting out so many filler books. Now, I'm not one of these people who hate on Marvel and DC that much because I believe that they're the pillars of the industry. They keep the LCS going, and to me, they were my gateway drug, if you will.
Absolutely,
That's the way I found comics.
so okay. So
Mhm.
you know the concept of the bell curve, right?
Right.
Okay, okay. So here's the deal. I'm on the bet. So here's the question for Paul Gomez:
Uh,
how many books hypothetically could Paul Gomez do in a month and it still be good?
in a
And
month.
in a month, because I want here's the other thing that goes on with okay, this is something to consider, right? I'm willing to bet that, assuming money was no issue and you had the
Right.
time to create, let's say I bet you could do 4 really good stories a month. I think 4 is definitely within the realm of possibility.
Oh, definitely,
Right?
definitely. Yeah, I think I got 6 stories just sitting on the back burner right now,
Uh,
and having saying that I got 6 stories on the back burner, I think at least 4 of them are of quality that I could put out there and say, "Hey, this is some of my best stuff." 2 of them are probably kinda okay, iffy kinda thing, but what's for one reader is not for another. So having to say that they're iffy for me might be that they're great for somebody else.
okay. So let's start. Let's say for the sake of argument, okay. Now, your own pace, I'm sure you can knock them all out of the park. But let's just
Right.
say for the sake of argument, you had to do 8 of those in a month. Could you? Maybe. I'm gonna give you a maybe on that, right? Maybe
Oh,
yes, maybe no.
okay.
Right.
If I didn't have a 9 to 5 job, if you're asking me to do 8 stories a month, I could do that for
You,
sure.
you think you do that? Where do you think
Uh,
your what do you think your upper limit is?
I think my
Honestly.
limit would be about 8 to 10.
Okay.
And the main reason that is because every book that I do, I try to do some research. Like whenever I did PTSD, I delve into, PTSD. Whenever I did Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries, I researched circuses. And so I think, there's a certain area that I have to stop, and I would say it would be 8 to 10. I've wrote about, I want to say about 12 scripts. I've probably thrown away about 3 or 4, but
Yeah.
I have to stop myself because I can't produce all these books. I've got the next book that I want to release in the process of starting right now, and that's Prelude, which is a different title altogether. So if I got 12 issues for Booshie Boo, 3 issues for Cryptic Haze, Prelude is it really depends on where I go from it. I'm thinking it's going to be 3 books, but I could also kind of see it being an ongoing series.
Okay.
Then I've got at least 2 other series that I've written that I want to do at least. It could be 12 issues if I had the funds.
So this is where I'm going to go to you. Like I'm going to defend the company on this point, only this point. I do
Okay.
tend to agree that I would rather have, put it to you this way, I would rather have a quality of 20 quality books
Right.
versus say that same 20 quality books and 10 shitty books, or
Right.
20, because it dilutes the brand all the way around, right? But let's just say for the sake, okay, so Marvel publishes, I think, 40, 50 books a month, and DC about the same, right? So assuming, okay, you could probably, you say, perfect world, 8 books, you're knocking it out of the park every month, right? Some
Yeah.
months a little less, some months maybe a little more, but you're knocking it out of the park. Okay, cool. Now, if you had to do 20, you'd be like, oh shit, how am I?
Okay.
Oh,
But here's the thing. You say that they do 50. Let's say it's 50. How many writers do they have?
yeah, okay, but let me finish my point, because
Mhm.
what's happened there is their machinery has gotten bigger,
Right.
right? Right now, let's say eight's your limit. Let's say you had 20. Let's say for whatever reason that you would make X amount of dollars producing
Right.
20 books a month,
Right.
right? Well, you would be assigning that out to whoever you think could get it done, whether you agreed with it or not. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean there would be there's a sacrifice of quality. Any organization that gets to a certain size, right? Once you hit a certain size, that's it. There's a point of like, do you want to get bigger or do you want good quality, right? And I know you want to fight me on this one a little bit, but but there comes a point where it just gets so big you can't watch it all. You
But
just can't.
how much quality are you losing? I mean, DC and Marvel, and no offense to them, because again, I love them, but I think they've lost so much quality that all these independents are knocking it out of the park. And I'm not saying every Kickstarter is great, but I would say more often than not, the Kickstarters are better than DC and Marvel at the moment.
So I agree with you, but I have a slightly different reason as to why.
Uh-huh.
Right? This thing. I do think quality is great on it. Don't get me wrong. I want to say this up front. I think Kickstarter has some amazingly independent books, but I think what's happened, and I said this, there's a decentralization of publishing going on.
Right.
You're Paul Gomez. Booshie Boo becomes a big giant hit. You're already 4 days in, you're halfway there. Right?
Right.
You've gotten a better reputation. PTSD is a fantastic book. Right? Right, for
Mhm.
example.
Yeah.
Right? And you got a bit of a reputation just for how like good. And by the way, folks, watch our last conversation. The story behind PTSD is phenomenal. Like
Thank you.
where
Yeah.
Paul has reached is an incredible story in of itself. But in this particular case, this is what, so there's two, what's happening is the more traditional industries, and this is happening in publishing, it's happened in music as well, is they're getting bled out in a bunch of different ways. They're not looking for your kind of book. And that's the other big reason I think the quality is missing. Because, okay, now, if in my personal opinion, Marvel should always have Unbeatable Squirrel Girl and Miss Marvel on their list. Period. 2 reasons. It doesn't sell necessarily very much in the comic shops,
Right.
but it really sells at book clubs and Scholastic.
Right.
And right, so why would you screw that up? Because guess what? Guess what you're getting? Kids that want to read comics. Hey, I want to read more comics. I'll come to the comic store. It's a way of drawing people into your store first and foremost. But they're not doing that anymore. They're focusing on a very, very and again, if they were a smaller company, I'd understand this to some degree, right? Because you, again, focusing on your properties, whatever they are, like your big,
Right.
right? I totally get that. But what's happened is it has made it so it's like they're like, well, Paul, we don't have a market for you, so you create a market for you.
Right. So
Why
you
would you go back? Like,
you
right?
right. You talk about Squirrel Girl. these comics for young kids and
Yeah.
opening the doors. This is one of the reasons I really wanted to make comics. My teenage kids were looking at these comics and they're kind of like they're in all ages. They kind of lose them because they're not focused towards the teenagers. Which
Hmm.
whenever I found comics, I was a teenager. Most of the people I talked to, whenever they found comics, they were teenagers. So why aren't they aiming for the teenagers? That's one of the reasons I made my comics a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
PTSD isn't exactly an all ages book. Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries isn't exactly an all ages book. And then Cryptic Haze definitely wasn't an all
No.
ages book.
No. No.
So what I was aiming for was that teenage plus market. Now I wanted the stories to be well enough that they would be received by mature people as well. But really I wanted to aim for those lost in this whole circumstance. You
Yeah.
do have Marvel and DC who are basically churning out these books, and what I feel is they're really testing their market, for their movies and TVs with the books instead of just really trying to sell the books.
I agree with you.
So
That's a big part of it too. But where I was going to say before you wrapped up. Oh, by the way, I'm going to get a confession out of you now because of all you saying what you just
you
said.
got it.
Right. But first, though, this is what I'm saying. I think what's happened is okay. If you get a big enough hit with your own stuff, why would you go to DC? Right, and I asked that
Well,
strictly as a business from a business standpoint now because you have your properties, you have your audience. What are they offering you at that point?
now
You don't have.
I'm pretty new at this
Yeah, yeah,
industry
yeah.
and whatnot, and I've talked to a lot of people, and most people that create books, they're always talking about getting signed on with Marvel or DC. I drop everything to go with them, or soon mine will get Netflix contract, all that stuff. I never was aiming for any of that. I'm still not aiming for Marvel or
Oh, no,
DC.
no.
But having said that, if they did come knocking at my door, I would be crazy to say no. And the reason that I would say yes is simply this: whenever you have Marvel or DC attached to your name, it's going to help you in the industry. It's going to help you get conventions. It's going to help you get tables. It's going to help you get noticed. And not only is it going to get you noticed on whatever you're working on for them, but also any books that you're working on the side as well.
That's see, I've had some talks with other people in the industry who disagree with you a little bit on that. And then
Where
it was look at my conversation with Dirk Manning. Like go back into the archives. Me and
uh,
him had a little talk about this, right?
uh,
Because I don't get me wrong. There are I think to go along, there are advantages still to go to DC and Marvel. I'm not completely poo-pooing the idea.
right.
What I'm saying though is okay, what you do, like you write. So you're this is my confession. You're secretly a young adult writer. Are you right? That's what you are, Paul. I admit it. You
I'll
like
take
yeah,
it.
yeah, take it.
I'll
You can
take it.
I'll confess it. Okay, so here's the thing, right? There's not so for you, it would make sense. Let's do DC real quick.
Sure.
We'll go to Marvel in a minute. Let's say DC offered you Shazam
Right.
or Legion of Superheroes. That makes sense for you because it fits your brand of story. You might be able to do some stuff with Batman too, like for example, like maybe a Robin or like there's some stuff in the Batman universe you could definitely play with. Would say, the Justice League fit your brand? And I ask this like this in this regard because you are based on just what we've talked about briefly here. You like creating stories that give kids adult situations and learn their characters of who they are in those situations. That's powerful stuff. That's not a Justice League book.
So here's the thing. Whenever I decided that I was going to start writing,
Yeah.
I looked into the industry and I saw people doing basically
Yeah.
one of two things successfully. They were either creating their one IP and they were running with it. So you had that one story and you're hoping that everybody loves it. Or you're building a library, which
Mhm.
is what I decided to do.
Yes.
PTSD was a single shot just to see if I could do one story in a 22-page book. Booshie Boo Circus is going to be 12 issues, and it's 32 pages in each issue, which is a tall feat because most people tell you to start small. So again, it was something different. Cryptic Haze, again, a 22-page book, but it's going to be 3 issues. as opposed to the just one or the 12 issues continuously kind of going thing. Now, also on my Kickstarter, I'm releasing what is my first romantic story. I got asked to do a romantic story in an anthology, and they decided not to pick it up. Well, I showed it to a few people, and they absolutely loved it. Now, I'm not going to say my stuff's great, but they loved it. So I kind of felt like I wanted to put it out there to see what other people thought. I wanted to show my range of writing, not
Mhm.
just with a little bit more mature stuff, but romantic stuff. And soon, there's a superhero kind of book that I do want to write if I get to it. Like I said, I have a few stories set to the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
If I had the money to get them, they'd be out by now.
Oh,
But
oh. No, it's
you
fair.
know,
No, but I'm asking all these questions, I think, for a good reason. 'Cause we're talking about why indies are as good or better
right,
than right in the mainstream. And I think this is a real the nature of where the industry has gone today
right,
has forced every creative to ask their questions, right? For you, you want like it makes sense for a bunch of reasons. For if Marvel DC made you an offer, it's not why you're doing it, but
right,
Marvel DC made you an offer. It makes sense to you, right?
right,
Right, to at least hear them out and hear what the idea is and go with it, right?
right,
Because it sounds like something that you want to do. But that's not necessarily the case for every creative
right,
anymore. And
right.
right, that isn't that's a different world than even just 10 years ago.
And it really depends on what your goal is in it. I
Mm,
mean, everybody has different goals. Like I said, I've talked to a lot of people that say, my goal is Marvel and DC. My goal is to get a Netflix contract. My goal is to be able to sign up for New York Comic Con and them automatically say, "Hey, yeah, come on down." Right? I applied and I'm on a waiting list, and I don't think I'm going to get in because I am a new artist,
mhm.
creator. But if I had any publisher attached to me, I think they would look twice at me as opposed to just say, "We don't know who you are at the moment."
It depends on it depends on the publisher, but I also again, give yourself another year or 2, and
Right?
you'll be in there on your own anyway, right?
Hopefully,
It really oh,
hopefully, but
there's
like I said, that's my goal.
no, you'll get there, dude. I have
Right,
no doubt about it. I it's actually kinda scary because I'm behind because I've been doing this freelance thing now for 2 years. So
right.
I'm trying to figure this out. I got a really cool project in October, so I'm trying to figure out my next 2 months, but once I really get rolling, I got 3 books coming out next year, and they're all on Kickstarter. They're all novels, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 1 novel, 1 poetry book, 1, graphic novel, which I'm illustrating, which scares the shit out of me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, so I'm gonna be a little bit more I'm still gonna be doing the podcast. It's 1,000 next year too. So I
Right.
mean, yeah. So, but it's so I'm gonna have a big year next year.
Right.
But one of the things about doing this and getting this out there is I've had to reevaluate my own goals because in doing this, what I've learned is what I really care about, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's about hitting my readers. That the readers that love my
Right.
books really love my
Right.
books, and whatever is the best way for me to get my readers is the way. Like again, that opens keeps me open. If there are certain books I'd write, I think would fit traditional publishing very well,
Right.
right? There's some that don't. And I
Right.
know already know that up front. They just don't. I don't care. I'm going to do it my way. Because again, the one thing about this era is there's room for everybody. There's room for
Right.
Booshie Boo. There's room for Snowpaw. There's room for
Yeah.
one of my crazy little works, right? And you can get cool things happen to you. Like my one of my releases last year got nominated for an award.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, that's me as an indie, not as
Right.
a published anywhere. That's just me as an independent.
Right.
So yeah, like we live in a very interesting time in publishing. So I think what's happened is a guy like you created his own shit and it takes off, and enough people it's happened now where it's like again, people are asking questions. Where are my readers at?
Right.
Where are the people I really want to do this at? Because those are the people I want to reach, however, whatever the best way is, right? And that's the way I think has happened to the comic industry. So what's happened now is I think DC and Marvel coincidentally, have said, well, we're going to focus on these properties. Problem with that is the shit that made them really cool was their
Yeah.
variety.
Yeah.
And I mentioned 2 books, like, for quote, "kids, teenagers," right? You need a little edge with teenagers a little bit, or it has to be fun. It has to be
Yeah.
ridiculously, ridiculously fun. So, you can play with it in that realm all the time, and they should, but they don't. It's like,
They don't.
we're hitting a demographic that likes these properties. Well, that's older than both of us,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna be around forever. And, and as for me, I mean, I'm gonna be looking at back in my day stuff really soon. I mean, sometimes I talk to the clouds, Paul, and they talk back now a little bit. So maybe I'm getting a little, older and crazier.
Right?
But the point is, this is the point. It's a changing publishing landscape,
Yeah.
and it will change next year. It'll change the year after, and who knows? I think Booshie Boo would be a hell of a. I want a Scooby Doo style Booshie Boo cartoon. I really, really do.
You know, it would be fun, and I'd love to try it. But like I said, my goal right now is to be able to get into all those cons. Whenever I first started, Aftershock really was the home that I would love to land on. Of course, Boom and Scout are making big waves, and it's like, even if I didn't get published, I think just going out to the cons and book signings and talking to, I didn't expect to do Booshie Boo issue 2 right now. I was going to go into Prelude, but so many of the people, whenever I went to do a signing, were like, "Hey, when's the next issue of this coming out?" That I decided to do issue 2 right now.
Well, dude, it's a fucking awesome concept, and honestly, like seriously, it sells itself. Hey,
Yeah.
man, I wrote a comic with my kids, and if you like Scooby Doo and like a little bit of like mythology to go with it, here you
Yeah.
go. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm in. Like I'm
Yeah.
there. It's an easy sell, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people loved it with the circus background, and that's what when me and my kids sat down, we were looking for something different. They were talking about doing Harry Potter and Buffy, and I was like, a lot of magic and a lot of vampires have been done before, but how many circuses do you see out there?
Not
That
many.
that's one of the things that kind of pops the story out to people, and I tell them, it does have that those killers and the serial killers mixed in with all that atmosphere of those young teenagers that are coming up into age. And I think that's what the teenagers kind of gravitate to. Like the Harry Potter was coming into age. Well, my characters will too throughout the course of it.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's the whole idea. They're growing
Yeah.
up and they're solving mysteries. Right, they're solving mysteries, and they're having some fun with the
Yeah.
and you're having some fun with it. You get to kind of relive your
Yeah.
childhood again. Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta ask this: what is your favorite Scooby Doo episode?
Oh man, it had to be Scooby Doo with Batman. It really did. I mean, I was probably one of the rare ones that liked Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm
I
sorry,
liked it.
everybody.
I liked it. I think everybody liked Scrappy the first couple times they saw
Yeah.
him. It just the gag got old. That's just it. The gag just got really, really old.
Yeah.
I popped from the movie when he was the villain. I popped.
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
yes,
Right.
he's gonna get his ass kicked. Like,
I'm like,
yes.
no.
Okay,
Yeah.
meeting you, Paul. Big hug. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm gonna. This was.
Yeah.
They made this for me,
Yeah.
not for you. I'm sorry, buddy.
But yeah, I mean, it, I love Scooby Doo when I was younger. So I mean, doing this story, it was kind of a fun, exciting thing to share with my kids as well, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that like that's the awesome thing about your Kickstarter, right? This one, the other ones are you playing with concepts? You're having fun with the other stuff
Yeah.
you're doing,
Oh
no
yeah.
doubt. This
Yeah.
one's your baby. Like this one, I can already like that one. That
Yeah.
one, that right?
Well, I love them all for different reasons. It'd
No,
be
no,
like
yeah, yeah.
asking me to pick between my children,
No,
but
no, no, no.
yeah,
No, no, no. I'm not. Yeah, yeah. See,
yeah.
first off, I actually okay. The mom I talked to, she's like, "Do you have a favorite?" It's like you don't have a favorite exactly, but you do have your favorite in the moment sometimes, right? Right, and she's very honest about that, right? So, and so what I've learned is what I've learned about this whole deal is, um, you have this tendency to in the project you're excited about is the one you're always working on.
Right.
But when you look back, like okay, so for me, my first series I completed was actually traditionally published. I accidentally got traditionally published, Paul. It's a
That's
story.
awesome.
Yeah. so right, but it was really cool. I remember that I told the whole story from beginning to end. But right now, so I'm right now having a secret agent right now,
Yeah.
chasing the Holy Grail against an evil version of Percival. So that's fun.
That's
That's really
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
And then I have Alice in Wonderland, my version of Alice in Wonderland, which is a Greek mythology mashup. Those are the two I'm working on right now. And
Yeah.
then I'm drawing a homage to Fahrenheit 451. So I like them all for
Oh,
different reasons.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
right. I like them all for different reasons. But again, the feelings, because they all make you feel different, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
But right this minute, if you were to tell me to pick, it would be the one with the Holy Grail, because that's what I'm working on right now.
Oh, wow. See,
Right?
I don't think I could pick, but, having said that, I had PTSD, which was, that mental illness kinda
Yeah,
I wanted that conversation out, so it was a passion project. This one was a passion project with my kids. Then I
yeah,
had Cryptic Haze was kinda like my, homage to Batman's The Killing Joke or Memento, kinda like that thriller kind of story.
yeah.
Then I've got, like, Prelude, which is coming out, and I tell people this is Prelude is probably my closest to a comic book story that I've gotten, 'cause I these stories that I wrote I mean, me being brand new, I didn't understand a lot of the stuff whenever it came to comics, and there's no, like, supernatural or superpowers in most of this stuff. There is magic in Booshie Boo, but,
There is.
with Prelude, there's gonna be, like, gargoyles and demons. And, then I have, like, another story that I started writing it, and I call that, Modern Day Zorro. But it's kind of a twist on the greatest American hero, where even though he was handed down like Zorro's uniform and whatnot, it's really the cast around him that saves him while he's trying to do good, kind of thing.
So is he like the Green Hornet?
Kind of, sort of,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Because
So
we all knew Kato was the badass, right?
right? And
Yeah.
but instead, to me, I was like, I wanted to do a Batman where Batman wasn't exactly the hero. It was Robin, Batgirl, and everybody else around him that was protecting him, but he had that heart of gold that was going out there and trying to save the world.
Or Inspector Gadget. Yep,
Inspector,
Inspector Gadget.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Inspector
yeah,
Gadget. That's what that is, because Inspector Gadget was okay. So now that I think that dynamic was, I always felt bad for the person I felt bad for was the Brain, because
yeah.
he was the backbone of the Brain. For those people who've never seen the show, is the dog. Very smart dog. Where would go undercover, would keep an eye. Generally speaking, he would keep Inspector Gadget out of trouble. But every once in a while, he have to save Penny too, because
Right,
Penny was the brains of the outfit, right?
right,
And Gadget had this, and what made Gadget completely redeemable though, was he had unparalleled luck. Like, it's better to
right,
be lucky than
right,
good, right? That was
right,
always the thing. Right. And now it doesn't fully work. I always had this like theory in the back of my head that Chief Quimby was Dr. Claw. Doesn't fully add up. But considering
yeah,
the number of times I got this self-destructing message blown up, I would just snap.
right.
Even thinks about throwing it my way. It's like, no, 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 you're taking
No,
it.
I'm stopping it from ever happening again.
This got blown up so many times. I was just like, if there's anyone that wanted to kill Gadget, Quimby would be the guy that would want to kill him. Because I give him a message, I get fucking blown up every time. It's
Right.
just like I'd hate that. Like everybody would, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't fully add up. But the thing about it was, but the backbone of that is Brain and Pen. Again, he loves them both.
Yeah.
They love him. That's why they're dudes. That's their
Yeah.
bond. Is that they love
Yeah.
each other. But but the thing about Gadget was, again, what made him, but so it didn't feel like a complete waste of space on the air, was he got lucky, and
Yeah.
he was and
Surrounded by great people.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so it worked out. It's like the old Get Smart, same thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Exact
Right.
I was a
It's it.
huge fan of Get Smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Agent 99, my friend,
Yeah.
is the shit, right?
Yeah.
Is the shit. All right. So,
That
right.
phone shoe? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
The phone shoe is great. My favorite is the movie with the magnetic shoes when he fight
Oh,
Chaos. It's
yeah.
like the magnetic shoe fight. Just cracks me up every time.
Yeah,
Right.
but I'm telling you, there's great stories out there. I mean, I could easily do 8, easily.
You can knock you like Paul Gomez flexing on the air, going
Yeah,
8 stars, bring
yeah.
it.
If I had the money, I'm telling you, I could have 8. Yeah,
Okay,
I could have 8 in a month.
I think you could. See, I feel with everything I do, I could confidently do 3.
Yeah,
Right, confidently do 3 to the standards I'd want them to be at 3.
yeah.
So, right now I could do 5, now maybe 4, and the fourth one's me just goofing off. I mean, I wrote a story in John's anthology about a dragon that got altered with glitter and didn't like it very much. So, I mean, I can tell that kind of story. We can do that, right? But that's just it. Like it's understanding what your limitations are too.
Yeah.
I'd rather tell 3 really good stories
Oh, yeah.
eh,
Yeah,
than
like I said, I've tossed a few of them, but the thing about it is, like, whenever I started writing, it was like, I could start writing one story, take a break, and start writing another story, and then kinda go back and forth. That's the reason I feel I could do so many, is because I think at one point, I think I was writing 4 of the stories at
yeah.
the same time. So whenever I was going back, it was like I was refreshed because I was taking a break from it, but then I was looking back at what I wrote to make sure that everything was in line and hitting my correct beats and making sure that I was hitting those arcs that I really wanted to. So, I mean, I think I could hit 8.
Yeah. Okay, you can hit 8? Well, then you the man. I'm just gonna say this now. You the man. You the man.
All it takes is money,
I
though, man.
oh,
Yeah,
well, it takes money, it takes vision, it takes
yeah,
and just it's a process, right? So,
yeah,
I have for me, it's gonna be 3 novels, not gonna be not gonna be 3 comics exactly, although one, it
yeah,
will be graphic-esque novel, kind of, sort of.
yeah.
I'm drawing I'm drawing a lot of Ocarina of Time, by the way.
That's awesome.
I'm doing a lot of homage to that. I don't know if you ever played that video game or not, but
From time to time. Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah,
one's fun. That one's just
yeah,
fun, and it's a little bit of fun in a very dark story because it's my homage to Fahrenheit 451. So,
yeah,
um, but no, it's one of those things where I'm making like again, I can consciously think through 3 really good stories, and then
yeah.
I'm working on the next stuff afterwards, which is I got for the Corey novel, or the assassin novel with the Holy Grail. Next one I'm doing is a take of the Magnificent Seven.
Oh,
It's gonna
that's
be
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it'll be my take on the Magnificent Seven with her, which will be fun. And
Yeah,
then with Alice, Alice, I finished the Alice story next year, but it's really it's a really fun wild ride to the end. And with the other story I'm working on, boom, 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 I'm missing one other one here. There's another one I'm working on. Hold on, it'll come to me. Yeah, it'll come to me some other time. I'm sure it's mine too, right? But I got another novel. I got another novel behind that one I want to do as well. And then who knows? Maybe I have some comic book stuff in my back burner. I might release as well. So you never know. Like
right?
might do. You might see some very interesting things. Oh, I have a comic that's actually done other than lettering. I have to figure out how to letter this though.
Yeah.
It's a Dr. Seuss esque. I wrote it like a Dr. Seuss story. It hurt my
Wow.
brain. It hurt my brain a lot.
I believe it. I believe
Yeah.
it. Dr. Seuss, it's so fun to read, but so hard to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, in my opinion, he is number 3 on my list of greatest graphic novelists of all time.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
because
definitely.
most people don't see
Yeah.
him as a comic guy. Really
But, I mean,
look at his
yeah.
stuff really close. You could put thought bubbles on most of it, and
Yeah.
it's a comic. It's just
Yeah.
he's a living proof that graphic novels can sell, folks. It's Dr. Seuss. Bottom
Yeah.
line. Right? Right. It's all
Yeah.
in presentation and look. So, I mean, you're gonna get there, man. You're gonna do this, and you're gonna rock it. You're gonna knock
Trying
it
my
out of the
hardest.
park.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and me, yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna be rocking it and knocking it out of the park, and that's what you do, man. But it happens, but Rome isn't built in a day or
That's
8
right.
stories. So when you get to 8 stories a year, when you get to that,
Yeah.
so right, found your post, my friend. Found it.
Yeah.
Booshie Boo. So I'm looking for this, ladies and gentlemen, on the air because I am a trained motherfucking professional. It's true. It's freaking true.
Hey, maybe
But
one day we'll be at a con together sitting side by side.
oh,
That'd be
no,
awesome.
dude. Well, if this is by the way your book right there,
Yeah.
right? Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da. But we'll do the full proper pitch for that in a little bit. But all of which to say, um, no, man, dude, I mean, whatever your goals are, this is
Yeah.
just for me. Think just think as big as you want to be, my friend.
Right.
That's the only advice I would give you. I get one thing at a time, one
Yeah.
step at a time. I get that strategy. I understand it. But dude, like you have already gotten like with PTSD and some of your other stuff, you've already gotten a response that you are really good at this
Thank you.
already.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, shoot for higher stuff. Hey, you never. I'm just saying, like, just in your head, it's like you're gonna get the table. Whether it's this year or next year, you're gonna get
Yeah.
the table.
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
really worried about that,
Yeah.
right?
It's a goal that's on my list, and even though it didn't happen this year, or doesn't look like it's going to happen this year, I'll keep it on that list for next year.
Do you want a fun story? A really fun
Sure.
story for me, a
Yeah.
convention story for me. So Winnipeg had a convention called C4. Now I ended really well. I made my table like early third day, so I just goofed off the rest of the con.
Right.
But this is the thing about that con. I didn't know I was going to be there till like the day before the con happened because this is
Right.
how it happened. I was one of those like backups too. It's like we're going to not fill you in. So the week of the con, it's like I'm probably not getting in this year, but I'll go next year. So the week of the con, I get this email from the con, not addressed to me, just a email about staffing and stuff like that. I thought that was weird because they haven't told me. They hadn't told me anything.
Right.
So I just dismissed it. It was a legit place. That might be as an accident. I'll just whatever. They send me something else. So second day, send me something else. I'm like, okay. So I emailed them. Am I on the show? Because I'm not sure now. Right? I'm not sure. 2 days later, Thursday, the day before the con. Yes, you're on the show.
Oh wow.
I'm in Calgary, Alberta. Winnipeg's a bit of a trip, and I have to get ready for the show. So it happened, and the show was disorganized. Like it was one of the most disorganized shows I'd ever been a part of. First off, the hotel was a nightmare that it was in because it had this tiny elevator,
Yeah.
and I do not make the mistake of missing your opportunity to get off. I got off on the wrong floor. I
Uh
had to wait, so I went so I had to get on the second floor.
oh. Right.
I somehow ended up on the third floor. So I had to go back down to go back up to register. I had to get to the second floor. I am going in the elevator again and go all the way back down to the first floor. Like I missed the second, like there was no second, like wait, what the hell is going on here? Right? Because because everybody was stuck. So I got on. So I gave up. I went all the way up the stairs. Get to the like, I just want to check in. I just want to
Right.
check in. Let me check in. Right? And so they did. I had no sets, nothing, because I had literally a day to prepare for this.
Wow.
Shit,
Yeah.
but I did incredibly well. The
Yeah.
fact that I had no display actually worked in my favor because there's nobody like me there. You got me like a cloth. I had like this skeletal thing cleaned up. So it was like one of those. It was one of those like yeah. But so you never know. All I'm just gonna say to you, buddy, is just be prepared.
Right.
Just in case.
Right.
Now, I sincerely hope the New York Comic Con is more organized than
Right.
my con was. Because I would have loved to have known Monday.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. I might have might have been able to make a poster at least.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear you.
Yeah,
I
right.
hear you.
Still would have been a lot of time. I would have had something. I could have maybe made it look a little nicer. Nope. But Winnipeg was fun. I had a lot of fun doing Winnipeg.
Yeah, yeah, man. My first con, actually, I originally thought I was gonna have Booshie Boo out, and it kind of got delayed. So the only thing I had was PTSD, which kind of came out ahead of time. And here I was taking PTSD to this con, my first con ever, and I was like not expecting ever to really take that to a con. But man, that was honestly one of my best cons ever.
Yeah, no, it happens.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
the unexpected
yeah,
is actually the best. Sometimes all the proper planning and preparation in the world. Sometimes like, nope, you're
yeah,
supposed to be here. Okay,
yep,
I'm here. What am I here for? This? Okay.
yeah, yeah. It just fell into place.
Yeah, kind of did. So, my friend, so 4 days in. So, what did? Okay, obviously you want to get it backed, but when you're going
Yeah,
for none, this is your fourth campaign. This is your
fourth
fourth
time.
campaign, right? So,
Yep.
well, that's the other thing. I'm gonna hit you on something. You're not a newbie
Okay.
anymore.
No.
No, 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 no,
I still consider myself a rookie. It's
no,
still my first year.
no. It might be your first year, but you're not a newbie anymore.
Everyone
Rookie.
tells
Yeah,
me this. I'm a
yeah,
rookie
yeah.
though.
No. You get when's your year up?
Uh, Oc- November, the end of October. October was when PTSD went on Kickstarter. It ended in November. So I say November's my year up.
November 1st, you are not a rookie anymore,
I'll
Paul.
take it, but until then,
Okay.
until then,
I'll call. All right. But I'm just saying, like, at that point,
right?
I want to call you by what you actually are, Paul Gomez, comic book professional.
I'll take it.
That's
I'll
what you
take
are.
it.
Don't say rookie. Don't say newbie. You're a professional because you're awesome, and you should believe
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're like
No.
that's like that's why you like coming on this show. I butter you up too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's I, I don't know if it's still like amazing that I have a comic book that's been on comic book shelves and that people have read. Yeah, one of my favorite reviewers, called PTSD phenomenal, and I'm like, he doesn't even usually review independent comics, so for him to have reviewed mine and say something as amazing as that, it's just
Oh no,
it's great.
and those
It's really
highs
great.
never go away.
Yeah.
Ever. They
Yeah.
never go away. Never be so like I'm always like again, personal like thing. I've done like you're eight this is episode 829. Like this is I've done
Right?
a lot of these, right?
Yeah.
I'm still humble people want to come on and do the show. Right? Right. Now, I do have a bit more of an ego than when I started. I'd be lying to you if I said otherwise. But I still get the rush of meeting new people, listening to them, hearing their stories. But like that's the best thing about doing a show like this,
Right.
right? So that's why doing shows like this are always amazing for me because it builds that character, that confidence,
Yeah.
that for me, and I can go out there and put it out in all the various forms I put it out on. Right? The high never gets old, even there. Books, see people. I mean, yeah, when people notice your stuff and go, "Hey, you're nominated for this," or "Hey, that's great." Now, I don't. The rewards are nice.
Yeah. They're great. I mean, it helps sometimes whenever you hear that kind of stuff, though.
Okay, there we go. I
There you
got
go.
booted. I got booted there. My internet.
No, and I understand that. I mean, hearing the way people talk about the books, to me, like I said, it just surprises me that they're out there reading and giving them compliments. Whenever I first started, it was kind of harder to understand that I was going to get to anywhere, let alone where I'm at now. And even coming on any shows, it's like my nerves kind of set in, whether it's convention or writing book signings. It's crazy. Uh, I thought I had you back there for a second. There you are.
Yeah. No. My internet said, "Ha ha! You must not exist. You must not be
Right.
real." I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Now you're frozen on my screen there, Paul.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Am I
Paul
there
is
now?
frozen. Oh,
No.
you're
I'm
still
still
there. I
here.
mean, you're still here. Just you ain't moving. You're like
Uh-oh.
you're on my end. On my end, anyway. Maybe on your end it is. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm moving here.
Okay, hold on. But anyway,
There you go.
there we go. We're back to the way it should be, or something. I don't know. Fuck, I don't fucking know. No, what I was going to say And it's like I said, ego humbling things, right? Things
Right.
like this.
Right.
Also, I mean, no matter where you go, it's the little things that make this journey enjoyable.
Yeah.
It always is.
Yeah.
It's not the big stuff, it's the little stuff because it's hard. Like it's
Yeah.
hard. Like you're going for things, and people will like applaud you, but sometimes they won't support you, or sometimes they
Right.
will love you, and they say one thing, but they do another when push comes to
Right.
shove, and that drives you nuts. That's the worst part of this. But
Right.
the best part of this is you get some kid come up to you and say, "Hey man, I love Booshie Boo." You're like,
Yeah.
"That is so cool." Like the reviewer, yeah, you
Yeah.
reviewed your shit. That's awesome, right? So these things, these little victories are what you're going to remember on this journey. The cool
Yeah.
stuff, yeah, you'll remember some cool stuff too, but it's the little stuff, and it's never the big stuff. So if you can keep getting the highs on the little things, good man, my good sir, it'll keep you humble when the big
Right.
things do come your way. And
Right.
and at the same time, hopefully, you'll have every once in a while the universe will send you a thing to humble you. Like for on this
Right.
show, I've had a 3-year-old hold my show hostage, so that's been fun. Things like that put you in
Right.
perspective, right? Put things in
Right.
perspective. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, it sounds like you have a great start to a great career, and you are a professional, and you're great at what you do, and you
Thank you.
should embrace that greatness.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
All right. So, Mr. Paul, what do you think? Do you think we have an interview here?
I think so. It
Yeah,
works. Yeah.
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 You want to come back down the road again?
You know I do.
Yeah,
Anytime talking to you is fun.
yeah. So why don't we do the magical, wonderful pitch here? So
Sure.
pitch me to do the official Booshie Boo spiel. Take it.
Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries is really a Scooby Doo meets Criminal Minds kind of story. It's got that circus background with three apprentices: Zahara, who's a young female tiger trainer. It's got Lance, who's being a ringleader for the first time in this comic, and it's got Luke, his younger brother. I tell people all the time, whenever you got a young, beautiful girl and then two young brothers, there's 100 stories to tell, but the real story is about the mysteries. And if you can solve them before they can, have Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries.
All right. That sounds really, really good, my friend.
Yeah.
So to everybody watching, everybody listening, go check out his Kickstarter. You're moving again!
Oh,
Yay!
yay!
At least on my end. Everybody else, I'm pretty sure it was like my connection just said nope, and then
Nope.
the internet is the internet loves me. So for first things first, guys, check this out. Oh, how can people find you? If there's any way they want to just get a hold of you,
Paul Gomez at 790 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm also, if you want to go buy any of my books, they're on chartercomics.com. Of course, Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries 2 is on Kickstarter at the present moment. And you can also catch me on Comic Crusaders every week. I'm co-hosting a show there.
nice. So can you send me your link to buy your other books
Sure.
at again, like right
Yeah.
now, so I can look like a professional and stuff and put
Oh,
it up.
no, I don't know if I can do it right now. I'm really not good
Comic
with this
Crusade,
whole
like comic. What was it? Comic.
Comic Crusaders. I'm hosting a show just about every week called Thundercats or Think Indie. And then you can buy my books on chartercomics.com.
CharterComics.com. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted. That one.
Yeah.
Because while I'm sure and if you want we can promote your show, I have no problem with
Oh,
that
no.
either, right, but I feel your comics are kind of what you want to do,
Yeah.
folks. So Charter Comics, if you want to catch up on all things Paul Gomez, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, first go to chartercomics.com, then go to his Kickstarter page right now. Go there, put a little money down, right, and that way you can definitely check out probably one of the coolest projects out there you'll ever read, right, and get him one step closer, to him saying he ain't no rookie no more. Paul Gomez is a professional.
November.
November,
November.
that November. I just for that, just this, right? November 1st. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say rookie no more.
Rookie no more.
Yeah. And for any creative out there that wants to get their work out there, I make it. Paul will attest to them. They're pretty sweet, right? About either your project or yourself. So definitely go check that out if you are interested as a creative. And I got a really fun rest of the week for everybody here. So I got, hold on a second here, Heidi Engel, same time tomorrow night. And then I got another comic guy dude by the name of Edgar Paston. He's going to be joining the show on Friday.
Wow.
And we got a loaded following week. And yeah, like August is going to be a very fun time. So everybody this month on Just Joshing. But for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired, keep shining in the dark, and definitely go check out the Booshie Boo Kickstarter. All right. Have yourselves a wonderful night.
Bye.